Crazy, Habashim Yavshai, a double honest apostle GMS, and the rest of the prophets and hours and byways. Today I'm going to bring out a few key points in this article. Alright, so the first one, this is about the Statue of Liberty, alright? The secret worship of the Illuminati. The Statue of Liberty is a Nunike goddess Anina. Alright, so it says French sculptor Frederick Bartholdi designed the Statue of Liberty. Bartholdi did not originate the concept of the statue. Alright, so Frederick Auguste Bartholdi, he was a Freemason. Alright, you can see him doing the Freemason sign. Alright, so and right here it says La Baule, a French Freemason, proposed the idea of a giant statue replicating a goddess that the Masonic movement idolized. La Baule proceeded to raise the financial support and commission Bartholdi to provide the sculpture of the goddess of illumination from ancient times. Alright, so now it's showing you what goddess it goes back to, alright? And it goes back to Libertas, our Roman goddess Libertas. Libertas was the name of an ancient Roman goddess adopted by the Romans perhaps as early as the 5th century BC and certainly by the 4th century BC. She was referred to as the goddess of personal freedom and liberty. In fact, liberty meant freedom. So liberty means freedom. The two names describe the one concept we call freedom. Liberty, freedom and freedom, liberty. The goddess was the goddess of freedom because she promoted the ideals for the personal freedom to do anything that felt good. She was called the matron goddess of prostitution because she promoted sexual freedom. Indeed, she had invented the concept. Slaves considered her their goddess in the hopes of winning their freedom. Many women who gained freedom later turned to prostitution to survive and thereby retain the Libertas as their goddess, especially if they became priestess in the Libertas cult. Libertas was also a goddess of war in order to fight for freedom. She was also referred at times as the goddess of victory because freedom must have victory in order to survive. The goddess was also the goddess of immigrants. The whole idea of immigration connoted the idea of freedom. Her popularity was also unique because of her unique doctrine of hearing personal prayers. This unique doctrine was something that most of the pagan deity doctrines were not disposed towards. Alright? So I'm going to bring out a quick precept. This is Exodus 20 verse 3 to 5. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh, thy power and my jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. And the Illuminati, alright, they have a lot of symbols, right? Things that goes back to different gods, alright? The pyramid, you can find that in the American dollar, alright? And also the RCNI. Alright, I'm going to read a little more of this and I'm going to get to the next key point. We know that the goddess existed because of the records left behind to us. We have the ancient writings of Cicero, who writes of this goddess and her temple on the Aventine Way in Rome. She was depicted on some Roman coins as wearing a freedom cap and having a wreath along with a spear or sometimes a sword. Alright? Such coins and images were not the only depictions. Sometimes she was well robed and at other times seductively unclothed in both sculptures and paintings. Alright, so it says Ashtoreth become transliterated into the Greek as Astarte, which became the early Greek name for the goddess until it was later changed to Aphrodite. The Hebrew term Ashtoreth was itself a transliteration from the Babylonian dialect, Akkadian term of Ishtar. Alright, so it also goes back to the goddess Ishtar. Alright, she's a goddess of liberty and personal freedom. But I'm not going to read all that today. I'm going to get to the next key point. Alright, yeah, the crown of 7 spikes that you can see in the Statue of Liberty's head. Alright, it shows it right here. The crown that she wears, alright? It says, the symbol was to represent the alignment of the Babylonian sun goddess Shemesh, Utu. The idea was that the sun god's occultic illumination could be focused by each of the 7 spikes of the crown. Each spike would flash the occultic enlightenment to each of the 7 horrors or large landmasses of the world. In other words, each spike would flash occultic enlightenment to a continent on planet Earth. Each of the 7 spikes would then be representative of one of the 7 large landmasses or continents of the world. Alright, number 7, the tablets. The tablets here. Alright, a common misconception is that the tablets represent the 10 commandments that Yahweh gave to Moses. Alright, so we know it's not this. Alright, it says it right here. This is not true. The tablets also engraved only with Roman numerals standing for July 4th, 1776. Alright. Alright, so in 1776, if I'm not mistaken, this is the year May Day. This is the year Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, he founded the Illuminati, alright? It says, according to the preeminent statute historian Marvin Tachtenberg in his book, The Statue of Liberty, the tablets represent a generic notion of the concept of law. It should not be confused with the laws of Moses. Freemasonry gives lip service to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam as law-giving religions, but Freemasonry tries to synthesize all religions into one central focus, the idea of law in general. Hence, the tablets being held by the Statue of Liberty carry that general meaning. Alright, the robe. In original planning, the Statue of Liberty was designed in the intentional stages to be in color. She was to be wearing the royal robes of scarlet and purple. It became obvious that for reasons of monetary purposes, the statue must be made from copper. The use of copper precluded the use of any color schemes. Thus, the original plans for scarlet and purple robes were abandoned. This is Revelation 17, verse 4. And a woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. It's talking about America, alright? Babylon, which means confusion, alright? America. And they got the Statue of Liberty and what? Scarlet and purple. It says that in Revelation 17, alright? A scarlet color, arrayed in purple. Alright, so basically Statue of Liberty represents America. Alright? And the torch, I'm not going to read all of this, but the torch, it also goes back to the torch of Prometheus. Alright, so the torch, it goes back to God of Prometheus, alright? We give our praises to Yahweh Shai, Adama Ansa Pasa Gmes, Shalom Yasharallah.